Donald Trump returns to the campaign trail on Monday, but in his first comments after accepting the Republican nomination, Trump did not attack Democrat Hillary Clinton. Instead, he went after GOP Senator Ted Cruz, reviving these unsubstantiated claims that Cruz's father was somehow involved in the JFK assassination. Watch this.
Is point out the fact that on the cover of the National Enquirer, there was a picture of him and crazy Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast. Now, Ted never denied that it was his father. Instead, he said, Donald Trump, I had nothing to do with it. This was a magazine that, frankly, in many respects, should be very respected. They got O.J., they got Edwards, they got this. I mean, if that was the New York Times, they would have gotten Pulitzer Prizes for their reporting.
I wonder what's going through Mike Pence's mind as he stands there and watches that. Let's bring in our panel this morning. One of the Georgia State delegates to the RNC, Ashley Bell, excuse me, and Tea Party activist Simone Perry. Good to have both of you back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Ashley, what was the point of that?
You know, you can't beat it. You can beat a dead horse, but, you know, Ted Cruz made a mistake by not endorsing Donald Trump. Yeah. And Donald Trump wasn't making pay for it. I think Ted Cruz's career running for president is done. Either way. But he has his opponent now. He has Hillary Clinton. He's now the nominee. Why is he still fighting the primary fights? Look, I wish we had a teleprompter at every event Donald Trump was having, but apparently that's not in the budget. But we will get one, and I hope it'll stay on it for the rest of the cycle. Simone, speaking of teleprompters, you know, I went back and read every speech of the last 20, 30 years from acceptances at the RNC. Everyone mentioned the father of Republican orthodoxy, Ronald Reagan.
That's true.
Except for Donald Trump.
That's true.
And I wonder why. I want you to listen to Reagan's inaugural in '81, and then we'll talk about Donald Trump.
It is time to check and reverse the growth of government, which shows signs of having grown beyond the consent of the governed. In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Government is not the solution. Government is the problem. Empowering the states, empowering the people. Here's Donald Trump on Thursday night.
I have made billions of dollars in business-making deals. Now I'm going to make our country rich again. When I take the oath of office next year, I will restore law and order to our country. Nobody knows the system better than me. Which is why I alone can fix it.
I alone can fix it. Empowering the office, empowering the federal government. Yeah. Is the small government GOP dead?
I do not believe it's dead. And I think that, unfortunately, in his beginning sentence when he said, I humbly accept the nomination, everything that followed that just proved the lack of humility that Donald Trump has. I think the reality is that he failed to unite the party during that convention, and that was ideally the outcome. The outcome was that never Trump would begin to cease, would begin to die out, the conservatives would begin to fall in line, and the pressure to fall in line has kind of been mounting ever since Ted Cruz's campaign suspension. This was kind of a prime opportunity not only to pay homage to his former candidates and to his former opponents, but also to the founders of the movement, the founders of the party, and he was not able to do that.
I think that's taken out of context in this regard. When he says, I alone can fix it, he means between him and Hillary Clinton, who is the candidate who is not beholden to the system. Hillary Clinton has time and time again chosen cronyism over the best interest of the government. Look at Rajiv Fernando, the guy who she appointed to a securities position when she was Secretary of State. Now, he was a securities lawyer. He knew about security in that regard, but nothing about nukes and bombs. Totally different type of security. He's the only candidate who Bernie Sanders supporters can even say is not a part of the current system.
Let me ask you this next question in this context. When you go back and read that speech, and I go back and read the Reagan inaugural, Reagan's inaugural was all about empowering the people. We give the federal government all of its power. Donald Trump in his acceptance speech says, I can do it. Put me there and I can fix your problems. Now, with that preface, when you were here last, you were supporting the nominee. You weren't enthusiastic about it. You weren't endorsing. After the convention, have you changed your mind? Are you now enthusiastically supporting Donald Trump?
I'm enthusiastically wanting a change in Washington like everybody else. I think when you look at Ronald Reagan's statement when he said, you know, government is the problem, well, why send someone back to Washington like the Clintons who spent probably 75% of their time getting a government payroll check as a government employee.
But this is the anybody but Clinton argument, and Trump happens to be the anybody.
No,
Are you supporting
I have 99
Donald Trump?
reasons not to support Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump doesn't have to be either part of any one of them. Hillary Clinton is the worst possible option for freedom in this country, for people who believe in free markets.
Okay, back to you. Tim Kaine, does he change the dynamics of this race?
I don't think he significantly changes the dynamic. I think that he was a safe, good pick for Hillary Clinton, but I also think that you could say the same of Pence for Trump. The thing about Trump that I would love to see for the next couple of months is that conservatives and Republicans were not always two separate groups. And now in political dialogue, we talk about them separately. Anybody is laughable if they're suggesting that Donald Trump can carry this nomination without conservatives. I'd like to see in the next few months him really rally that base and speak to the Constitution, speak to individual liberties, throw out any talk of opening up libel laws or eminent domain or anything that would even suggest that he's not liberty-minded because of specifically what you said. You know, there's a reason why his son had so much more outgoing applause is because he spoke to conservative principles and he spoke about liberty. If we can't get him on that same page, he's never going to appeal to that base. And I think that he's showing that he knows that he needs to by continuing to go after Ted Cruz long after he's dropped out.
We've got to wrap it there, but it's safe to say you haven't decided if you'll vote for him or not.
I will not be voting for Donald Trump, no.
You've decided that?
I have.
And you will be?
I'm going to be voting for Republican nominee Donald J. Trump.
All right. Ashley Bell, Simone Perry, always good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, Christy?
All righty, that does it for us.